So what did you think of the new Wonder Woman movie?
I think it's okay, but I think it kind of sets little girls up for unreasonable expectations.
What, you can't have a strong female character on screen these days?
No, I'm fine with that, and I totally encourage it. I just think they're going to expect DC to make decent movies. All right, everybody, I just want to show you real quick. One thing I found out about while watching tutorials on how to use my new barbecue is I found out about something called a chimney. And these things are absolutely beautiful. So what you do is you just shove some newspaper underneath them. And so one thing I was always worried about is like how much fuel is too much fuel, how much fuel is too little fuel, how much time are you going to wait to, how do you know when the coals are ready? You know, all that kind of stuff. And these chimneys kind of avoid that problem. So there's not any guesswork, and when they're ready, they're ready. So first you shove a bunch of newspaper underneath them. Make sure and get a setup where you don't have to worry about it burning. So I'm using this little metal rack here, and then basically you just pour these in here. Fill them up to the top. And then you just light. Now I prefer these nice long matches, because too many of those gas lighter things, they seem to run out of fuel quite quickly. And but you just light a couple places down there, and when you're worried that the fire department will show up, you possibly have it set up correctly. Now we're going to wait 15 minutes for these things to be nice and ready. All right, so today we're just going to real quickly before we get back into the nerdy stuff and the whiskey stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about Freshly. So the one thing I love about Freshly is it fits so nicely into most things. You put a little water in there, put your water bottles in there, maybe put your soda pop in there, and you maybe put your Freshly in there. And then the most thing you got to really remember about Freshly is, you know, the one thing they provide almost everything. But the one thing they don't provide, the one thing that you need to make sure and remember is both a fork and a knife. Why a knife? It's a TV dinner. No, it's Freshly. You're going to have to actually cut the meat. It's real meat. But it fits so nicely. And that's why I love it. So easy, compact, ready to go. Okay, so after you wait 15 minutes for the chimneys to be ready, then you just kind of grab these. They're not hot, but I'm using my magic glove anyways. And then all you do is you grab these cool burritos and you pour and then you grab the other one, and do not go anywhere near them if you can. Stay as far away from them as you can, because they are very, very hot. I made the mistake once of looking to see if they were ready. Don't look to see if they're ready. You won't have any eyebrows. And that's how you use a chimney. No fuel. It's great. Anyways, we'll see you in a second with some food. We're going to drink whiskey and eat and pair, and it'll be great. See you in a bit.
Does this make my forehead look big? No. My forehead makes my forehead look big. Hi nerds. M in Black here. and I am here for Nerds Drink Whiskey. I'm doing a segment on Mark's show. Mark's a dear old friend of mine, and I'm doing this segment just to kind of show the stuff that I do. He says I do a lot of weird shit, so here I am. I am drinking scotch, so of course, that's part of the show. Today's packing day. I'm getting ready to go on a trip with my beautiful girlfriend, and so this is kind of the first segment in a series of segments on my trip. Nothing much doing today, going on today, just packing. I am packing some of my favorite t-shirts, of course. So these are my favorite shirts that I'll be taking on the trip. Here you can see we have Rammstein, Die Antwoord, one of my favorite anime and manga, Dead Man Wonderland, an awesome, awesome ninja shirt that my daughter bought me, Hunter x Hunter, also one of my favorite manga and anime, and here is Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. I just recently went to that show. Those guys are funny. I never thought I would have so much fun. It was definitely worth it. If you get a chance, go to the show. He did say he'd be coming back, so cool. Check it out.
All right, hey everybody, Nerds Drink Whiskey. We're back from a small hiatus, actually a rather large hiatus. First I got sick, and then I realized I was burnt out. So we're going to be mentioning, kind of planning 2 hiatus vacations a year. We're not sure when we're going to do that, but we'll keep you updated on that. But for our relaunch episode, we decided to do something special. This is a crossover episode. You may be watching this and it's an episode of Nerds Drink Whiskey, or you may be watching this and it's part of Cooking Ain't Complicated with Chef Saint. So we've got some ribs that we're pairing with a local distillery, Skip Rock Distillery. This is what is it, 103 proof rye that I got at the whiskey gathering, the South Sound Distillers Gathering at the Olympia Airport Museum, and we're going to mix that with Kevin's ribs. So why don't before we imbibe, why don't you, while we're trying your ribs, why don't you explain to us the local connections of your ribs. Absolutely. And how well you think this is going to, why you think this is going to pair well with this whiskey.
Well, I try to source my things locally as much as possible. So I was at the farmer's market, and I came across Johnson Berry Farms Raspberry Reaper Jam. Now it's made out of Reaper peppers, raspberries. It's all very fresh, very local, and so I kind of turned it into its own sauce. I decided to make a rib out of it on the spot. I used a little BSB, Brown Sugar Bourbon, with that. I believe episode 65.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
from Heritage Distilling, our good friends at Heritage.
Right, Gig Harbor, Washington. Paired that in there. A little raspberry mix. Got some green onions to finish. Brown sugar, ketchup. It's all very simple to make. Or as I say, it's not complicated. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole get-up of my show, is cooking ain't complicated. So you find nice locally sourced products, you use them, and you guys are eating. I know what this tastes like. I'm gonna give this a nice little taste and tell you exactly how it pairs. Well, see, that's nice. It's very smoky. Mm-hmm. Adds well with the barbecue taste of everything. Nice warmth. It dances on your tongue, especially after you've had a little Reaper action. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Oh my God! between the ribs and that rye, that's just right up the alley, dude. That's right in the pocket.
Reaper and rye, baby.
That's good stuff.
Do you have any idea where the Reaper chilies fall on the Scoville scale?
The last time I checked, I believe it was around 2,200,000 for a Reaper pepper on the Scoville scale. And, so it's hot.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, habanero is about 300,000.
Give or take, yeah.
3 to 400.
I want to say about 3 to 400. Yeah. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. We got Google for that.
Right. So now these guys are eating the Reaper ribs. I'm very anti pepper. and to be honest, Kevin is going to pretend like he's not insulted when I say this, but I found that a lot of cooks nowadays, peppers are the crutch. You know, they'll sit there, and if they don't know how to season well, they will hide their lack of seasoning talent with peppers. And so it's like if you put a bunch of napalm on there, you don't notice that the person doesn't know how to season.
Oh, now ask these guys if that's the case.
Well, but
this
see,
has
so
got
here,
so much.
here I've got non Reaper ribs.
Absolutely.
So if your ribs sucked, and if you were trying to hide your lack of flavoring with the Reaper, then these would be bland and boring, and they are not. So that's the one thing that I think a lot of people got to keep in mind is that yes, you can use, if you like the peppers, you like the Reaper, you like the habaneros, make sure that there's some flavor underneath there as well. Don't use it as a crutch for lack of seasoning.
And I understand what you're saying. A lot of people do pepper heads and everything. They'll eat just the peppers, no flavor, no anything, just to say they have. And see, I'm not about that. That's why I wanted to make sure it was paired with something like a raspberry glaze like it is, because you get the real fresh pop of the raspberries. You get the real fresh pop. I cooked it with the brown sugar bourbon. You get that sweetness from the brown sugar, the sweetness from the raspberries. But then you got that, it kind of kicks you in the back of the throat after you eat it. And it doesn't overpower it. It just adds to it.
Well, and the Reaper chilies, they're not like, they don't hit you initially. They're a slow burn.
It's a slow, yeah. That's what I've heard.
You get all the normal flavors. You get all so you taste it. You get the raspberry. You get the brown sugar, and then you need the water. But you get all this stuff first. So yeah, and man, it goes really well with this rye.
Yes, it does.
I'm gonna try it out again now.
So now this rye, it's over 100 proof, but it's also it doesn't attack like most 100 or cask strength proof whiskeys, because it's done really well. Kind of like with his meat that he's cooked. If you do it really well, you can have that power, you can have that strength, that kick, without it being overpowering and without it ruining the flavor or overpowering the flavor. So there's a lot of similarities between cooking good meat with like he does with making good whiskey. Is you got to make sure you have that balance. And so that's why I picked this for this episode, is Skiprock Distillers Rye Whiskey. It's barrel proof, so you can follow the link at the bottom of your screen, and if you want to find out how to get some Skiprock yourself. But on this episode, we had Heritage Distilling in the meat, followed, and we chased it with some Skiprock Distilling with the whiskey. I think that's a really great mix with the two farms that provided the flavor for the meat, more flavor for the meat. So I don't know. Any closing thoughts, everybody?
When it comes down to it, these are some of the most delicious ribs I've ever had, especially with a pairing of good rye whiskey like this. I can't help it, man. I'm in love already. This is great. Bring on some more, please.
I got plenty.
So
awesome.
Yeah, and so anyways, we will see you back next week. By the way, we're filming in my backyard because it's a nice day. I got a new grill, and we're showing it off. We kind of opened her up and to see how hot we could get her, and we got her to like almost 450.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice. But we'll see you back next week, just for some straight up whiskey reviews. And Kevin, thank you very much for being part of our relaunch episode. And everybody go down to the website down below, click the links in the notes, go check out Kevin Saint and Cooking Ain't Complicated. See you back next week for Nerds Drink Whiskey.